work that we're doing here is not going to stop when it comes to these type of discussions. It's going to be for us and by us here on this platform when the media is telling us to look the other way. Your support is what helps us move forward. Join patreon.com/like it or not. Help us grow.
Like it or not, y'all. 2023. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for like it or not. With Rebecca Azor. Let's start this damn show. Yes, it's time for like it or not. With Rebecca Azor. Let's start this damn show like it or not. Rebecca Azor is in the house. You know she got a funny story to tell. Talking politics, culture, or real life-ish. I live in life in the ATL. Benjamin, yeah, that's my man. He's always coming up with the master plan. Politics, scheming, or trying to find the meaning of life. While the feds keeps us in strife. I'm your DJ. I really don't need no introduction right now, but you know what? I stay dropping them jams. Y'all know who I am. Good hope, dad jokes, culture-ish, politics. What you're hearing right now was the culmination of all of this. I started out with the mic in my hand, and I graduated to a plethora of fans. I love bringing joy to the people. It makes me feel great, makes me feel regal. I do what I do for you. 8 p.m. Friday, you know how we do. Let's go. It's time for like it or not. With Rebecca Azor. Let's start this damn show. It's time for like it or not. With Rebecca Azor. Let's start this damn show. Like it or not, y'all. 2023. Let's start this damn show. Let's go.
Like it or not starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
All right. Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it.
Why am I like not leveled?
And then you on your computer microphone too.
Okay, that's all right. Give me. Welcome to Like It or Not.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Magic.
Well, we're free to tell the truth.
Who doesn't like it.
Okay.
I think we said it.
All right. See, because y'all wasn't gonna come for my mic, because I know now.
It was coming for you.
Let's see what's going on. You
gotta put a little cushion under you to lift you up, or bring the camera down. Yeah, that way.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, okay.
No, now we're
good. Now, let me lift my seat back up now. Okay.
I was like, because my '90s little bang was giving me a little height too, so I didn't know.
You do look like somebody out of one of the old '90s movies that used to come on. Baby Boy. What's the other one?
Not Baby Boy. It's one of the '90s shows. I'm
the
giving like
shows.
The Aunt Vivs.
Yes.
And, the Hillarys. You know, all those. And yeah.
What was Tatiana Ali's character? What was her character?
Ashley.
Oh, 1 second, please. I apologize. One moment.
Okay. Hey. Oh, okay. I know what was going on. I'm on the show, babe. I'm sorry.
Okay. I apologize about that.
When he calls, you must answer.
You must answer.
When it's the Lord, and that wasn't the Lord, but that was family. I wanted to make sure it was like I'm on the show. So.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't seen you in a month of Sundays. How you doing?
Let me tell you something. Since you asked, I got a story to tell.
She always got a funny story to tell.
I feel like the Lord, I haven't talked to y'all in a while, and I'm going to save this for a bit of what the Lord has been telling me to do, which I had done, but I feel like the enemy has been trying to play something in my place. Turn my mic up. Put me in E flat. I feel like the enemy... The enemy has been trying to really, God has told me to do something. It's one of those things that God has told me to do something. And I felt like I haven't been doing it out of fear, out of anxiety, out of circumstance. And because of that, I hear somebody's microphone echoing sound feedback. But because of that, I've been feeling like, okay, every time I get to do something, like most recently, as you guys know, your girl is just out here. Trying to make sure that I am paying my rent, may not be on time, close to on time, paying the bills that I can right now because the income is not solid right now. And in my mind, it's been doing something to me. And where it's like every time I'm like, okay, I'm going to drop Shades of Good News, which I have like 3 produced shows of it. I feel like something every time happens and I'm like, oh, I ain't gonna do this. I'm not ready to do this. I'm not in the mental space to drop this. I'm not, mind you, the whole thing is called Shades of Good News. And so much good has happened to me, even in the midst of so much bad happening to me. You know, loss of job, loss of income, trying to pay my bills, trying to do this full time. Not sure if I have enough support to be able to do it full time, but at the same time, still pushing and hoping that eventually I get to that place where I have the support to do this full time. But then circumstances hit and I'm like, I have to focus here. But then I got the great news that I do not have, any more cancerous cells. But I've never had the moment, I feel like, to sit down and really be able to just be like, God, I can celebrate myself and I can still push even though I don't know what it's going to look like. Because you've already showed me when I didn't know what it was going to look like that you still have my back. So with that being said, I'm just in a place because the other day I got a knock on the door and I haven't had that type of knock. I'm going to be vulnerable with you guys. I don't like you guys feeling like pity for me. I'd rather you guys support me. Don't feel pity for me, but because of the story I tell, go ahead and go to Becca's Voice and help, right? I say this because, got a knock on the door and it was, I looked in the ring, the Blink camera, which I didn't pay for, and I was surprised I still got them up and running. They ain't gonna holler, but I saw the man and sticking the little notice on my door. So I'm like, dang, let me hurry up. That man got let the police officer go because they send the police officer to put the eviction notice on your door. So let me let the police officer just head out and then let me grab it so my neighbors ain't in my business. So, you know what I'm saying? So I grabbed it, put it down, got a little sad for a second. And I'm like, God, all I could imagine was intrusive thoughts saying, next week I may be outside. And I put myself with intrusive thoughts on the curb with my furniture, with and again, I don't know what next week's gonna look like, but I had to just come back into myself and say, you're trying your best, you're doing your best, and you still, God asks you to do something, put that thing out there. You don't know what life is gonna look like, but just do it. I've been looking on Threads, and Threads is my new place of just going to see people overshare. And like I just did just now. And I see so many stories about people who are sharing how they've been applying for jobs, qualified, overqualified, underqualified, in between qualified, have 5 different resumes that show overqualification, that show underqualification, that even take off their degrees, change their names, because if you have more of a white name, we've seen somebody sue a company because when they had their white name on there, they were offered an interview. When they had the black name on the same job application, on their resume, they weren't offered an interview. But I say this to say, so many people are struggling right now with so many different things. And what the world is looking like politically, which we're going to get to, it's just a lot of stress. And nobody can't tell me that my circumstances don't equal to me being homeless or being out on the street or having to move back in with whoever or finding, shelter or whatever. That literally could be my next week, but I have to put in my mind, that is not going to be. Do I know how? Do I know when? Do I have enough? But I just gotta, really, I just look at so much sadness in the world, so much pain, so much people who are breaking, people that are so on Instagram and showing this lifestyle, but they go to Threads and they overshare and they're like, man, I didn't even know how I was going to eat today. I didn't know. I paid my bills, but I didn't have enough left over to eat. It's a lot happening, but I cut my own hair as well because I can't, so I cut it into a bob, and that's what I'll be styling it as because we saving a coin. We kitchen beauticians, you know what I'm saying? Haven't quite got there with my nails just yet, but they're shorter because of that, Right. So, you know what I mean? But all of these things to say, y'all, listen, please support your girl. I am just but $600 short. Becca's Voice, Cash App, please just go ahead so I can go ahead and keep this roof over my head and keep it going with y'all. Becca's Voice on Cash App. And
Yeah.
leadership is going to matter with the way that our lives are going to look moving forward. We'll have that conversation on today's episode as well. But that's my life, and I'm all right. I'm just telling you that because I don't want pity. Please don't give me the pity. I may shed a couple of tears in this episode that you guys will see of my first episode of Shades of Good News, but it's just released because what we're ending that story with is what God has done. And I have to be mindful of what he can do and what I have to put in my mind of what he's going to do. All right. So, yeah. So that's my story. How have you guys been? What's going on?
Same stuff, Rebecca. Like, I mean, I listened to your story, right? And I think there are more people who understand what you're going through than don't, right? Most people will never admit it because that's not what you do on the internet. On the internet, you show how things are going for you. You don't show how tight things get at the end of the month, or whether or not you got your upcoming rent, or whether or not you got your upcoming car note. The reality is I think most people in this country are going through that exact same thing. And it's not to say like misery loves company. It's to say that there is a structural problem here in the United States, all over the world, but here in the United States, like even when you were employed, it was never enough for you to get ahead.
Right.
It was never enough for you to save. It wasn't because you weren't working. It wasn't because you weren't working enough hours. It wasn't because you weren't serving a useful role for the company. You know, you were doing all those things. But this is not a time. Let me put it like this. I call this entire season in American history the big crunch, the big squeeze, where they're squeezing every single thing they can get out of us. And if you can't give them anything, then they just throw you out in the streets, and then they make it illegal to be homeless, and then they put you in jail.
Yep.
Right. But the fact that cereal is $7 a box. Come on.
My best friend was just talking about that because she got 2 kids. And you know they don't like the same cereal, and we not trying to force them to eat the cereal they don't like, and they $7 a box.
A box.
Yeah.
Them Cherry Crunches of O's, the off-brand name, you know. But it's just like it's the big. So jobs are not paying more.
Okay.
But rent has gone up.
Talk about it.
Jobs are not paying more, but the cost of everything has gone up. They're making it more difficult to get places to live. They're making it more difficult to get cars to drive to these jobs. And it's all because they're free to exploit us how they want to. And they're all making more, not all, there's a small group that are making a whole lot of money right now. And it's coming at the expense of so many people. I know people in our audience. I guarantee you in the chat room, people have to identify with that. I know we've been talking to them for years. This is a hard season for a lot of folks. So I agree with you. Don't give support where you can. And then as far as the trust thing, I know exactly. I have to do something that I've been instructed to do that's going to make me look genuinely crazy. Genuinely. I've got to go out here and say something that's going to make me look, and then you have these intrusive thoughts about, well, what are they going to say about this? What are they going to say about that? I've been instructed to do something, so you know, as a person of faith, you do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the fact that in your body, in your flesh, in your mind, you're like, yeah, but what are they going to say about this? Yeah.
It's that right there has to, and I had to tell the Lord the other day. I said, "Hey, yo." Because I didn't say "Hey, yo" because I respect my Jesus.
Okay.
But I was like, you know, Lord, I'm not too big on how people perceive me. So is this me perceiving myself as how like what is like? Are you lame for talking about this, or are you not good enough, or are you? It's my own insecurities that I'm trying to say that people are saying about me, but that isn't the truth. That one little comment don't bother me because I have so much support here as far as for people, you know, who support me. So if I just go ahead and do that thing that you told me to do and remove my insecurity and remove those intrusive voices of the enemy, right? The things that are not true about myself, and believe what you said about me, then I know it'll fall in place. But let me tell you something. That intrusive voice and that insecurity that we can say, oh, is and that anxiety or all that stuff that makes us believe that what we're thinking is actually truth can debilitate us, can put us in a position where we're procrastinating and we're pushing back, and yet we're frozen, we're stuck, right? We're in a stuck state because, oh, now I'm sad because of the thoughts that I came up with in my mind. I'm sad because of this situation that came up, but I know I can get through it. But now your mind is telling you you're never going to get through it. Now you're so worried and focused on that, and you're not doing what the Lord told you to do. But you got to go ahead and do what the Lord told you to do, man.
Yep. Okay. So your boy about to come out here and look kind of. I'm gonna look crazy, but I'm standing on good ground. And you gotta realize, like, you know the assignment that you've been given, right? And you know whether or not you're putting out quality stuff. I know what you're gonna put out, Rebecca, is gonna be quality. So go on, put it out.
Yeah,
put it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking,
talk to myself too.
Yeah, look, we gotta speak. Look, speak, encourage
right.
And so, speaking of that, like, make sure you shine, and we're gonna make sure we do that. But Bubba, you shined a few days ago when they covered you on boldjourney.com and your story. Could you tell us a little bit about that? And David, pull up the article, pull up this coverage, this feature story on our own James Bubba Williams.
Yeah. So, like the rest of y'all, it's like it's been a struggle these past weeks. Like the DJing events have been very few and far. It's just like literally robbing Peter to pay Paul. I mean, not literally, but robbing Peter to pay Paul. But a few weeks ago, they reached out to me to do this article. I've done 2 articles before, and this one, it just seems like they came around like, hey, we want to tell your story about your generosity and your kindness. I'm like, that's basically me.
That.
Okay.
So that is you. Not
that's me. So I loved it. And it was fun doing it. I have a good fun time doing these articles. So it was good knowing this, and I got a lot of feedback from it. So I thank you for everybody that read the article and everything. I appreciate y'all.
What's up, man?
A lot of y'all inspired this. A lot of y'all did, really did. And shout out to mom and daddy as well too. If it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't be here. Literally.
Yeah. Literally, that's true.
Literally.
But I love that people are starting to see your work, and it's, I hope that inspires you to continue to push your page and your story, because I'm telling you, your story is a peculiar one only because you don't look like what you identify as of who you are. And it's such a good thing. I think that you're a DJ. You're not a bouncer.
Okay.
People would just assume that you are that. You're part of the LGBTQIA plus community, and I think that you should share more of your story if you feel comfortable about that, because I think that our viewers would love to hear more about that too. I'm like, shine your light on that, and you're very big in music, so I know artists that are quieted because they're a part of the LGBTQIA plus community, and so your platform could be a great space for them. And I'm just putting that out there just as ideas, but that could be something that you look into, because you are, you're great. So
thank you, Becca.
No problem.
She wasn't even talking about me, and I felt the love. My God.
And I mean it, because what the world tries to do, the world tries to really limit us. I'm going to go back. I missed the point. My best friend was telling me about her friend, because even in education, they will try to limit us, but we got to make sure that we know that we're great. My best friend's friend went to take a course and at a university. Her job helped pay for it and fund it. That kind of is great, right? And it was like medical coding to help her within that department. She took the test, got a 91 on that test. And guess what that was equivalent to for the school?
What's that?
A fail. In what world out of 100 is 91 considered a fail? So she appealed it, and I guess had some pushback about when to do the test, whatever. And at this point, she didn't even want to do that no more. She wanted to basically like challenge the system. Because what's going on that 91 isn't passing, and you guys, when I do talk to you about it, you're not even giving me an actual time frame to do the test in time. And then she took it, I think, to like the dean or the higher up, and they were like, yeah, this sounds strange, and it makes us want to go ahead and investigate why people haven't been successful coming out of this program. Now that because now it sounds like somebody's taking like they're taking the funds, the grant money, but not passing the students. Okay.
Wow.
So educationally, and I'm like, is the school, right? Is the school white? Everything, education, when it comes to housing, food, there's inflation, there's a struggle. They're ripping us apart, but they know that they're going to need a place to stay. They're going to still want to have education. So we can still pick at them. We can still take from them. We can still, like, that is breaking somebody's soul down. You're looking for something to better your life.
Yes.
And there's a whole program out there. You take the program and now people behind the scenes are actually against you because it's actually profiting them.
That's right.
To fail y'all.
That's right. There is no doubt, no question. There's absolutely no question about this. We are living in a society run by the worst people on the planet.
Amen.
Every hustle that they can to hustle you out of, they will do it. Medicine, a hustle. Healthcare, a hustle. Education industry, it's an industry now, right? You can say education industry. Healthcare industry, taking care of sick people for profit. Everything is a hustle. Food, a hustle. Trying to get a job, trying to get a place to live. I know everybody remembers this, like when you go to what's that Zillow app, and then you apply, and then you have 1,000 people that apply for the same one, and then they take down the listing and put it back up the next month. Because they make more money off the applications than they would off of rent. And we're run by a society of people who thrive off of that. Those are the people who run America right now.
Yeah, and David, we know it's not the world, but it's our world here in this nation. And we can talk about it from that point of view, from us being affected that way, and how it's such a great difference from when our parents were working these $19,000, if that, jobs, $19,000 a year jobs, and were able to utilize their funds to purchase a whole damn house. Right. Today, we can't even look. With your pay right now, which probably triple what your parents were making then, you couldn't even look at a house.
That's right.
You can't even look at one. You have to drive by one and window shop and imagine and dream. And thank you so much, Pendulous. And imagine and dream. and imagine and dream that you can get a house. I wish my face card, right? Because this face card that God gave me is enough. I wish that it can translate into money.
Hello.
Pendulous. So I can afford food and housing and all these other things. I wish. But anywho, no, it's our world right now. It's our nation. And Ben, you mentioned a couple of things, and some of those things we need to be alert on, because now they're called the Trumpites, right? And the Project 2025 that's out there, which actually talks about the whole process of making homelessness a crime. They already went through with that, I need you to understand. But at the RNC, the Republican National, what was that? What is it called? Committee?
Convention.
RNC.
Because okay, there we go. The Republican National Convention, where Donald Trump came out as the Republican nominee for president. And it was a whole concert, a whole show, as it usually is. Had the same people from, I think, his 2016 run that came up and spoke. But we saw so much racism in the room, so much ridiculousness as they were wearing panty liners on their ears. You know, the little pad that comes in the meat packets on their ears. Because we haven't even gotten to the fact of why they were wearing that. Because we're also going to cover the alleged assassination attempt of Donald Trump just less than a week ago. Actually, a week ago today, y'all. So much to go over when it comes to the ridiculousness of this country. But the clowns who we saw at the RNC are the ones that would possibly be in charge.
That's right.
Of making sure the way that we are living right now continues or gets worse.
The Grinder Super Bowl.
The Grinder Super Bowl.
And even with that, yes, because the people that don't like, the people who are the most homophobic were in that room. Yet the Grinder app for that city, I believe, it crashed. It crashed, meaning that those Republicans were the ones going to get their rocks off by the same sex, right? Which is That's their business. But inside of the room, their business is actually telling you that you're going to go to hell, jail, or whatever else because of how you identify or who you love.
Calling for the execution of gay people, by the way.
Okay.
Yes. It's the same group that's calling for the execution of gay people.
They broke the LGBTQIA plus app.
Broke like Republicans, I tell you.
Dang, Ben. So that explains why Donald Trump is always on stage doing this thing, the hand movements, and it's like, bro, what is this?
Look at this.
It makes sense.
In support. They look lost.
Terrible, bro.
They look lost. And mind you, I blocked the shade room, but on Threads they still pop up. So I seen how, which is okay, right? I understand that as a media outlet because that's who they are now. They have Justin. I love him. I'm Justin Carter, and this is
Justin Carter. Yeah,
I love him. Like to see him. But he was in the room. This is the first time that I've seen them actually in the room at a political event outside of being at the White House with the Biden and friends, which is when I say Biden and friends I mean Kamala, because when the shade room comes out or anything black, they give it to Kamala. So having him in the room and talking to black Republicans and things like that was interesting to see. But the way that I feel like it was posted onto the shade room site was almost like they're endorsing it. I don't know how to explain that, but that's what it was giving. But before we get to these moments, because there was a lot of ridiculousness, and I know that you guys can't wait to talk about, Ben.
Sure.
But let's go ahead and let's talk about where were you when Donald Trump experienced an attempt. Where were you on that last Saturday when Donald Trump got nicked in the ear?
I don't know, man. I was cutting grass or something. My father-in-law said, "Check out the news." I went and looked at the news, and I said, "Oh," and I went back to cut my grass.
Wow.
So
that was really good for me. He survived. Moved on. No.
Right. So what's funny is I got a text from a viewer, and they were like, "Y'all going live?" I'm like, "Why? You didn't hear what happened?" Turn on the news. I'm like, "Oh, dang, somebody almost tried to kill." I'm like, "Damn, he had one job and he missed." What's funny is that the day before, and y'all, Lord forgive me, because I've been watching a lot of Scandals. I don't know why Scandal has been on my mind, but I started binge watching Scandal. So I'm on season 2 right now. And so the episode that we were on Scandal is the one where President Fitz almost got assassinated. And I'm just like, that's crazy. But the day before, I was just like, I was just asking the question. I'm like, dang, people don't get assassinated no more. And then the next day, it's just like, so I was just like, oh Jesus, like it was all over the place. It's been a hell of a week. It has been.
My sister, I was having a tough Saturday that day, and my sister said, "Hey, meet me here," and I said, "Okay." So I went and sat down with her, and I said, "Sis, my phone keeps ringing about. It looks like somebody got shot. A table for 2, please." My sister, yes, over here. And I'm like, "Somebody got shot, sis." She's like, "A table for 2. Yeah, okay." I followed her out. We went to go sit outside, and I'm like, "Ooh, it's so hot," and I'm just going through a lot in my life, and I just feel like she's like. Back, God is gonna do it for you. And I'm like, "But Melinda, I keep getting notifications that somebody got shot." And she's like, "Oh, hold on. We're gonna do a calamari plate. And we're going to 2 waters. We're gonna do 2 waters today."
Right.
And then I'm like, "Sis, it says Trump got shot." She was like, "That's so crazy." "Yes, ma'am." All right. She's like, "Oh, he's all right?" I'm like, I don't know. They're saying that it's a developing story. And she's like, "Okay, but what God is doing in your life is going to be so much more." I said, "Oh my God." Like there was no, and then like we didn't, the people behind us, there was no, that usually with these type of events, with a attempted assassination, and I actually want, David, can you get some footage of that? I know it's a lot of it. So please grab some footage of, what happened and Donald Trump, because I want people to understand, when I finally did get to a place where I was able to look at what happened, I watched the video over and over and over. What I saw was more so and again, and I'll say this, like I said on Leftist Mafia Thursday, these views are my own, right? I say alleged because just how everything was set up in today's world, I still think that, yes, we're desensitized to things, but this would have made us more, like this would have shaken us up a little bit more.
Agreed.
But the fact that when we seen it, it was almost like, oh, I don't feel bad about not having too much of a feeling when I heard the news. So Donald Trump, there's a now that we know, at the time there was no knowledge about who the shooter was, yet there were people with their phones out recording the shooter in the moment, live at the time, and there was not such sense of urgency to yell out in the crowd, oh my God, shooter! Maybe because they didn't want to alert anybody and make a craze.
Absolute.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was like, what was that?
Sorry, that wasn't supposed to be on the screen.
Oh, okay. I was like, because is David interrupting me when I'm talking about white people stuff? Okay, no, but I was like, this is ridiculous because now we're seeing this shooter, and in this world, I know we're desensitized to stuff, but at a whole. Literally, you're at this whole parade or whatever this is, campaign rally, and you're talking. An attempted assassination happens and nobody's running away. Nobody's running away. And then you stop to put your hand up just for that photo op moment.
Go ahead, Dave.
I was about to say, there's another video of, I guess there were people outside of the event that saw this man climbing up the ladder, going up to the top of the building, and they claim, and you can see the people, they're screaming like, hey, there's somebody over there with a gun, and they're screaming and pointing. Nobody does anything. The whole time this man had the opportunity to put the ladder on the side of the building, climb up the ladder, lay his ass down on the roof, and take the shot. The whole time they're pointing up there and telling them somebody's up there. So y'all don't do anything until he finally shoots and kills one person, shoots again and misses, and then the other sniper finally takes him out. That whole time frame in between everything, it's not making any sense, y'all. The amount of time that it took him to get off this stage, the Secret Service, that makes absolutely no sense. We've all seen how quick the Secret Service can move getting somebody off the stage.
That's right.
Well, that makes no sense.
One thing to correct, but it doesn't change the narrative or the questions. There were two cops wherever this was, cops, like local officers that I guess eventually got word, and right before the shots were taken, like the description I saw in the article was one hoisted the other one up at the closest point to reach the roof, and the officer being lifted, imagine this sounds clumsy as hell, saw him and tried to point his rifle while being lifted and then fell to the ground because the shooter turned around, saw the cop, and I guess pointed it towards the cops, so the cops fell backwards off the roof. And then he took a shot at Trump.
Do you see what I'm saying? No.
What the hell, y'all?
At any moment, because assassinations were a thing, right? We lost John F. Kennedy to that. We know that there have been attempts before. And that's why the secret security is as secure as they're supposed to be. I would think that there would be more. Two cops trying to get him? No. Secret security would have been on that ass. And the fact that we didn't get the identity until later, it was such a struggle. Meanwhile, there's videos of who the person was, like everybody, all of this. And we didn't get the identity of the shooter until later because they wanted us to believe that it was a Democrat, it was a liberal, it was a progressive, it was somebody who represents the other side of the matter, who wanted Donald Trump dead. But in reality, the shooter was not. And then they wanted us to guess the race of the shooter. They wanted to believe that, again, as somebody who has to be opposing to Republican values and to Donald Trump in particular, which means what? Black or immigrant, Black and immigrant, Hispanic possibly. And again, somebody who believes other than the Project 2025 KKK Nazi thought. And that's going to be a liberal, a progressive, somebody who reps blue or Democratic, somebody who's anti-cop, somebody who has at any point in time spoken against Donald Trump. They wanted us to start putting those together. So much so we saw on the internet that the people, the liberals, right, what I call conservative liberals, the people with position like that, they were removing a lot of old conversations or talking points that they had that may have looked like they wanted Donald Trump dead. Any post that they retweeted or something, and then they didn't say anything. And so there's still a job to be done. Donald Trump is well and alive. We can call a thing, but when the facts came out that it was somebody who was Republican or comes from a Republican background and was a white young boy, he was the one that shot. A white male was the one with a rifle that shot. And that was on period. And the fact that we couldn't get the identity until later, which was causing so much chaos online, okay? And it was making to formulate the idea and the rhetoric and the narrative online in media spaces that Donald Trump, they're out to actually get him. The other side is actually out to get him. It was enough time for them to have those type of conversations online and to try to pick up more followers and more support for Donald Trump and his campaign run for president.
Somebody said on the internet, it looked like this guy looked like he found. I got it.
We almost got the same hairstyle.
Rebecca, somebody said, and this is so horrible for me to laugh at, but somebody said he mistook the Trump rally for a school because he's like an average school shooter.
And somebody said that in on Thursday night, I believe, I want to say it was Matt who said, it seems like the school shooters have lost the interest of shooting at schools because it's become too common. They want to make sure they leave marks. So going now and pulling up at things like a rally, a presidential rally for Republicans, that's going to make myself be known. And so now they're going there to shoot. School shootings are low end now. Now we got to start going like standing out. And here is where they present themselves now.
It's
one other thing that go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to say it is the mass shooter, the violence, gun violence is American culture, and it's fitting that this crowd who worships guns above human life, right? Who else like this is just another stage towards what they want America to be, but they don't expect it to ever come and backfire on them. Right. The more we empower mass shooters, the more we don't do anything but give them notoriety. The more we empower them with legislation, making guns easier to get to. You're going to keep getting things like this, where this is how they get famous. Here's the other question. I do have some speculations, not speculations, but really questions about, why this kid was able to get such close access on a rooftop that should have been Secret Service standing on that rooftop. Right? There should have been
coverage, maximum coverage.
Exactly. Like at some point, that line of sight was so clear and so ridiculous that it really something. I agree that there needs to be an investigation. Of course, there's going to be an investigation, but it's just all too simple. That building was not he wasn't hidden somewhere where no one could imagine where he would be. He was right there on a roof just across the way. This is Adam.
So two things on that note. I feel like part of the problem is that everyone's focusing on like the holes, but they're not following the investigation. Whether or not people are going to believe that the investigation is legitimate and all that is another story. But it's come out that so there's multiple layers in case something fails in the Secret Service or law enforcement in general. It's allegedly in preparation, someone did raise a flag about the building, and it seems like that wasn't addressed. So like the final layer, which it should never have come to, is that you actually saw the guy with you actually saw the Secret Service guy in the military fatigues or whatever they call that type of uniform, not the suit, who actually did take him out right away. But the point is they should have had the building under wraps so that wouldn't be necessary. The other thing I was going to say is that they have his phone now, and he didn't just he actually had images of Trump, Biden. I think he had pictures of some other people in both parties, and he had Google searches related to the Republican National Convention, the Democratic National. So like they haven't come out and said it, but with all these leaks, it suggests that like maybe he was kind of like looking to do something to anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, and see, this is the thing, y'all. Like Rebecca, what Matt said on Leftist Mafia Thursday night, I think is really, really true and terrifying. Right? It's well. Then again, hold on. Let me rephrase this. I'm actually on board with that. If school shooters are done shooting up schools, okay, good. Thank you. I'm so tired of seeing kids get killed, right? And so if school shootings are not bringing enough notoriety to them and they got to move on to politicians, suffer the little children no more, then, I think that that's a sad statement of where America is. But for decades, school shooters became famous based on how many kids they could kill. And this guy strikes me as a school shooter. First of all, he was on a high school rifle team. Okay, so he was trained. And I'm sorry, how old was he? Was he still in high school, David?
I think he was 19. No, I think he was 19 when he went
just out of high school, right?
Yeah.
So just on the other side of high school. And with his phone and all the information they have, they know his motivation now. But you notice that like there's not really a public, they're not letting the narrative of his true motivation set in, because that narrative doesn't help the Republican Party. Right now, they're using this as a crisis to say, oh, they wanted Trump dead. This is why you have to elect him into office. But they're not following the threads to show what this guy's true motivation was, which he wasn't anti-MAGA. He wasn't anti-Trump. Whatever he wasn't a liberal, right? If he was a liberal, if he was a progressive, if he was black, if it was anything they could use against him, all we would hear all day, every day was who he was and why he did it. Instead, it's just kind of being pushed a little bit back into the backstory. We're not even really talking that much.
No, we're not talking about it because they want it to be that way. What we're going to talk about more is the position of Donald Trump and how Donald Trump was attacked and how the other side is attacking him. They're still utilizing this rhetoric. And also they're saying how, and what's funny is we're forgetting, even in this conversation right now, there was somebody who died, not only the shooter, but somebody who died trying to protect his family and was shot. Okay. And is a firefighter who was at the event who was shot. And they're supporting Donald Trump. Yet when they called the wife of the firefighter, they interviewed her. She said she only spoke with Joe Biden at the time. Joe Biden was the only one who called in with his, wait a minute, David. Joe Biden was the only one who called in with his apology or just support. And I think initially she didn't even want to speak to Joe Biden out of respect for her husband. But Donald Trump never reached out at that time.
Hold the phone to his ear.
Didn't do it. Then after that, they said he I guess tried to reach out, but every story, everything, that never mentioned the man who died in the name of Donald Trump. Republicans picked up on that and they utilized that show at the Republican National Convention to put him a firefighter jersey or whatever. I don't know what they're called, but the uniform. I don't know. I would say jersey because it wasn't really his uniform. And his name was misspelled on the back of it. Wow. And the person who died's name was misspelled on the back of it. And Donald Trump basically hugging it and filling it up, the damn the back of the uniform or a look-like uniform, and basically saying that person died for him. And again, this is giving Donald Trump the Jesus complex. If he can't be touched as one, he is the savior, and like the white savior. And then it turns out that he also, so the echo is coming from you, Bubba. And then it turns out that the echo is coming from you. But it turns out that he also is looked at as like he is the Messiah. They tried to shoot him, and then my camera goes out. They tried to shoot him. They tried to let him go, but he is the Messiah. And this is what we're going to see more, to the point where now they have renamed them, upgraded their name to Trumpites, right? They're now Trumpites. And who is breathing like that?
Girl, stop noticing every damn thing and talk. Shoot, I'm trying to get it together. God dang it.
It was a lot. It was like, look, I'm talking right here.
Well, while you doing that, go ahead and change your battery so we can see you while you're talking.
And put some headphones on. That's why you got an echo. Shoot. Got dog it.
But man, look. I'm reading everybody's comments, and you know, I do want to say this. Not that it matters, but you know, I didn't want the man. I didn't want Trump to get shot. Nobody.
Right, man. Right.
I'm not down with assassinations, because that is literally the business plan that they use to get rid of the entire progressive movement. Every liberal / progressive leader, liberator that we ever had was assassinated. Every one of them. King, Malcolm, Medgar, Fred Hampton, right? And then you got Patrice Lumumba. You have, and then I ain't even get to it. Presidents here, you know, JFK, Robert Kennedy Jr. Like, they went through every single leader that we had, and in a generation, they assassinated every one of them. Assassinations are not generally what we do in. It's not what progressives do in America. It's not what liberals do in America. I can correct that. Now, we have a foreign policy of assassinations. That's totally different. Now, American liberals and conservatives will assassinate somebody over in the global South. We do that. But inside of America, the record has always shown very clear that when assassinations occur, it's an assassination of a liberator. It's an assassination of somebody who wants to set us free and give us more progress and move the world forward. This guy was not shooting at Donald Trump because he disagreed with Trump. He was shooting at Donald Trump because he wanted to make a name for himself. And that's why the story has gone away. 1 week later, people are barely talking about it, except for that part that you said, Rebecca. They're making Trump a hero, a Jesus figure. He's their Messiah now.
That sucks.
Go ahead.
I was about to say it, especially because the guy put on his Steam profile, which is the video game thing, the video game platform, basically saying, watch what I do next week and I'll be famous.
But here's my thing. And if you don't find that suspicious,
right?
You don't find that suspicious?
Preach, sister.
Because for me, and again, these are my views and mine alone. In a real world, I don't care how desensitized and all these other stuff and whatever. There is no way I would want Donald Trump to be assassinated. That's just not for, and I know a lot of other people are feeling the same way. We just knew the whole storyline is to a nick in the ear. A person who is willing, who wants death by suicide, and this type of fame. There are people out there who are wanting and planning this. So having a moment where you can get somebody to do that, these are my views and my views alone. The Secret Service, which is trained, the top Secret Service, especially since former assassinated presidents have happened, and assassination attempts have happened. Right? We know we had a whole damn black president. And that same Secret Service that was protecting that black president, you telling me couldn't protect Donald Trump? Like, let's be for real about it. Did not make sure they covered areas not only near the rally, but outside the rally, possible occurrences that may happen. You didn't factor that in. And then Donald Trump not being so afraid, in my opinion, for his life, and coming back with his fist in the air and saying, fight. Now they're utilizing that All of the white entertainers who are endorsing Donald Trump and who performed at the rally are opening up their speeches or their songs with fight, 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 with the same fist that we used or that our ancestors or people in sports have previously used when they were bending down on their knee, opposing views of the United States that weren't equal. Now they have taken that same fist and repurposed it.
Oh, it's an ugly time, Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're saying to fight. What are we fighting?
Fight immigrants.
It's not us. I'm sorry. What are they fighting?
Immigrants, black people,
immigrants, black jobs,
homeless people,
poor people, homeless people, LGBTQIA plus.
He was saying fart.
Perry Anderson, see that?
He was saying fart, fart, fart.
I can see it.
You like to grow up.
That's how
Rebecca was trying to put it together. She was like, "Well, what's happening?"
No, it's funny because nobody's taking it serious anymore. Like it's a week later, and this it's not only a commentary on just how crazy America is anyway, but like how crazy is our news cycle? How crazy is our news cycle that we're already almost post assassination attempt?
It should have been the full coverage. It should have been the only coverage. I don't care if I oppose this man's views or not. Assassination attempt happened, but they wanted. This is where I'm like, you don't find that suspicious? You don't find it the least bit questionable? Hold on, David.
I'm not interrupting you.
So for me, look, that was a little white.
I know you can see
that was a little white.
I know you're watching for me to pop up now, so I'm just like, pushing myself in there, so
I see you. Okay. Now, I feel like we aren't focused enough on the fact that even media is playing into this whole idea that Donald Trump was attacked by people who disagree with him. This whole there's MSNBC made sure that their most popular show, I think it's the Morning Joe with the couple, did not go on that morning. And a lot of people were anticipating for them to have something to say about it. Yet the other programming continued. And MSNBC stated when Morning Joe, they came back on, Joe and his wife came back on, they said that MSNBC told them, we're going to focus on just covering the assassination attempt. But then when they realized that it wasn't that type of party, they put their shows back on in order, and the only one that was missed was Morning Joe. Yeah, I said that's a missed opportunity because people did want to hear what was going on from them. They would want to know what they felt, and if there was any other information that they had that they can share, because people go there first to channels and networks like MSNBC. But yet, it's to me what the Shade Room kind of did. Those are places that we want to go to see how this is going to affect Black people, right? This is what the Shade Room is for people. People going to MSNBC to see where the real true conversations are going to be had amongst this. But y'all took that away from us and allowed it to look like for a while before we really had the actual information about who the shooter was, all the other stuff. You allowed the conversations to happen if we don't know who the shooter was. And it may be because people don't want Donald Trump to win. Those type of conversations were instead happening. And it was aiding into how Donald Trump has put out there the rhetoric and the narratives and the talking points and all of this BS, the thinking pieces that people are against him and want to take his life. And then our opposition is looking dumb because, and I hate to say it, because all we got is a tweet that says, I'm sick.
So on one addendum on the MSNBC thing, it was initially reported it was just Morning Joe. They did worse. They actually took down all of their talk shows. Because they didn't want it to look like we know it was meant to look, or at least what their intentions actually were. And they, for I think it was 3 or 4 days, they just streamed their breaking news. They had one figurehead that was just doing straight news, and they took down all of the talk shows. I can't find a comment now. Someone said they don't need wall-to-wall Trump coverage in response to what you just said, Becca. And I just want to point out, no, instead they're just telling us about whether or not the Democrats are going to implode. And like the media is basically just giving the election as much as they can to the Republicans. I don't think we need wall-to-wall coverage of the assassination attempt, but we need wall-to-wall coverage of substance. And we're not getting that really at all whatsoever. It could be Project 2025, it could be policies, but we're not getting anything except another Democrat called for Biden to drop out. Biden needed help getting into the car. Biden's hiding because of COVID. Like, we're not getting anything. Go ahead, Ben.
No, I was going to say what we needed the most and we need every day is a reminder of how Republicans and Trump, I separate MAGA and Trump, and I separate those two because MAGA will continue after Trump. Right. They've created a whole infrastructure, the whole power base, the whole way of making money. You could become a MAGA superstar with or without Trump. So MAGA is going to exist after Trump. But what they should be talking about right now is how MAGA is convincing themselves that now it's okay. Now it's okay for us to use violence. Now it's okay for us to do to them what those Democrats did to Trump. Right. Because they didn't identify the shooter for so long. It was Democrats did this. Right. They start pointing out politicians who made tweets about that may have had some violent rhetoric in it or whatever. They use that to convince themselves that when Trump gets power or when MAGA gets power again, they now have the permission to do to America what this shooter did to Trump. And I really don't hear a lot of people discussing that. But that's the real threat, because if they get in power again, you better believe they're going to move with the efficiency and the violence of people who have convinced themselves that they can use violence now because their hero, he survived an assassination attempt. They believe the Democrats tried. It don't matter what the record shows. They believe the Democrats did this. And now they're going to return fire. No pun intended.
Bubba, you got to go?
Yeah, I do. They have people in town celebrating parties. So we have people in town and it's starting to get live.
Because you had to step away for a second or two. I know it wasn't too much.
So I had to put chicken on and everything.
Child. It's giving cooking in the background. It's giving a Saturday vibe. But tell everybody that we said, hey.
Sitting on the soda over here with the baby on the one arm, just like,
okay, look.
Okay.
Okay, it's giving that. It's giving that. It's giving that. But tell everybody we said hi and save us a virtual plate.
I got you. I love y'all. Rebecca, hit me up.
Okay, I definitely will. Yeah.
All right.
Yes. And Ben, everything that you said. Yes. Listen, I know that you have to go, David, real quick, but we'll be here. I wanted to actually play some clips, Ben, of some of the moments of the NRC. Am I saying that? It just don't sound right.
NRA and NRC.
It sounds like the N should be something else. It's just giving racist. I don't know. Like,
I gotta search them up now.
That's fine. And I'll tell you a little bit of what we're gonna play if you find them. I know there's some clips on Twitter, but I seen Hulk Hogan, who has a history of being racist, and I forgot about it. And they reminded me on the Leftist Mafia of racist. That Hulk Hogan, because as a kid you say Hulk Hogan, that's how you say it, Hulk Hogan. But Hulk Hogan, who is just as white as his name sounds, former pro wrestler, he was out there, and he's the one that came up with the name Trumpites for the community of racists that they were speaking to that night. And we know that Hulk Hogan's history is utilizing the word, the hard ER, and having a problem with his daughter, date a black boy. All of his racist activity has been put out there. And those are the people that Donald Trump had leading his RNC moment. And then we had, I think what's his name? Dana White, if I want to say Dana. Is that his name? Dana White is the lady that does the bald-headed man. MMA. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dana came up there as well, who he had previously at his 2016, I believe, rally. And same person, Same talking point. Nothing has changed, which means they're going even harder in what they want. The racism. While y'all healthcare is bad now. Wait, your checks are low now. Wait. Like this is literally like continue to feed and carry on the white privilege, the poor, the systemic things that are already set in place. Roll back a lot of the work that we've already done, and guess who's feeding it to you? Former pro wrestlers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the performer we had, and here's the Hulk Hogan, and the performer that we had is Kid Rock.
Mm-hmm.
We watched him on mute, and we already knew. And I told them every one of these people are going to begin with their fist in the air, and they're going to begin with the word fight. They're going to begin saying fight, and all of them ended or started their conversations with that. So we've now known that they've taken on the fist and they've taken the word fight. When we know Black people say, put up our fist, we know that means that we want to be unified. And we also know that we're going to fight for unification, for equality, for us to be safe. That's what it means for us, right? And it also means fight the damn power, be the systems that be, because they're against us. Now, these unmelanated hot dog water people, mop, that been sitting there for 6 days, smelling. Don't wash my legs. Take a shower every 3 to 4 days. Your kids got a wash day, and it's on Tuesday. Those people who do not put any salt or pepper in their food, and they're telling you that they have stomach aches because the food was too damn spicy. These people who, if you are walking into your building and just because your skin has a little bit of melanin in it, they close the gate on you and they say that you're intruding into the building because they never seen you before. These same people, these people who live in the backwoods, who are affected actually negatively by Trump's policies, right? And people like him, by Republicans who are in place right now, by their policies and what they're fighting. The toothless people in them,
Jesus, Rebecca,
in the middle of Nowheresville, are the ones who are in this room, and they are the ones in the Black. Trying to go soft on the Black ones.
Nah, they just as bad. They just as bad.
And the coons that are out there representing Donald Trump. And when you ask them why, they keep saying stuff that isn't true because they haven't done their research. And it almost seems you want to be the nigga who's out there who is opposing the prominent view, and it makes you different because you think differently now. You're the conservative, talented 10th brother or sister who actually went to an HBCU but believes that Donald Trump's and his friends, because let's not forget, Donald Trump's rhetoric and his system is the same one that the governor of Florida and Georgia are following right now as we speak. That means removing programs that are Black centered, wanting to do away or merge your HBCU with that white school across the damn train tracks. But you are supportive after you got your good damn degree when that white school didn't accept your behind. You're supporting somebody who's anti-HBCU, anti-Black, anti-immigrant, anti-universal healthcare in some way, shape, or form, anti-working class getting it together. You're supporting this person who is anti-homelessness, but doesn't want to put anything in place to fix it, anti-abortion, but doesn't want to put any systems in place to help you after you have your child.
Rebecca, they have done their research, and their research shows them that they could get a check if they support Donald Trump, period. In a conversation, every single one of them are supporting Donald Trump because there's money attached to it. You got to think, there was plenty of money before Elon Musk, but this week Elon Musk said that he's going to be donating $45 million a month to Donald Trump's campaign. Where is that money going to go? Well, it's mainly going to go to rich white Republican consultants. But some of it's going to trickle down to Jim Bob, and someone's going to trickle down to whoever in the Black community who's willing to say that they stand behind Donald Trump. Yeah, they've done their research, and their research shows they can make a lot of money if they support Donald Trump. I want to
You
share.
have any video?
Say again. Yeah,
You
no,
have any
I
video?
want to play one, and actually, this video I'm about to play is surprise. I've never played a video of this brother on any of my shows ever. Dr. Umar Johnson, and he's saying as much. He was on the Breakfast Club. I don't know if it was this.
Yeah. We talked about that. I talked about that on Lay and Friends, and whatever
you saw that. When was that clip? Because this
was about a week ago. I want to say over a week ago. So we're going into 2 weeks since he did that interview with the Breakfast Club and surrounding political issues, his schools, all those other.
This clip really. I mean, when you talk about the black folks thing, listen to how he breaks this down. He nails this.
Donald Trump and Joe Biden. I look at the fact that Donald Trump signed 13 federal death while he was president. More than half of them was signed after Joe Biden won the election. Think about that now. Biden was elected in November, sworn in January. Between that time, Donald Trump executes half of those 13 people. 5 of them were black men, and 2 of those black men were presumed innocent. And the attorneys had introduced a stay of execution to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court turned them down, and Donald Trump executed those brothers. So when I hear black men say, I'm voting for Donald Trump because he's going to bring more money and economic vitality into the black community, I say, what about the fact that he's out here killing black folks, you understand, without no remorse at all? So you got to look at that. You also got to look at the fact that Donald Trump wants to give police 100% immunity.
That's right.
Wait a minute. Look how they're killing us now.
Right.
So now you're telling me anything the police do in their line of duty, they cannot be held accountable for making bad mistakes and bad decisions. And you want to put that back in office? That's thirsty black men worry more about money than the lives of their people.
What do you think about?
So no, that was one of the things when I did see the interview originally, and we're talking about that on Lay and Friends. Now, mind you, if you watch the whole thing, there are things that you can't relate to, because while he said that, he still went on to say why he can't vote for Joe Biden as well, which I mean was important to know that we all feel that way, but it's problematic because his people would agree with that. But what he just said, the most important thing about that is for the people who said when Joe Biden was president, all of this kept happening to me. But he said, and he being
Umar,
Dr. Umar, said Donald Trump made sure that things were put in place that even when Joe Biden became president and into the transition, a lot of his work, dirty, nasty work, would still
carry
out, make sure it came to fruition, even while Joe Biden was president. And everybody would say it was Joe Biden being president that caused this. When in fact, he made so many decisions that would carry out and have to under Joe Biden. So Joe Biden couldn't do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I need y'all to know when y'all, and that's one of, and I'm glad he pointed that out because, and why would we want to have that back in office? But I'm glad he pointed that out because when people make their stupid excuses about I'm voting for Donald Trump because under Joe Biden this, well, if you did your research, you would know that that came from Trump's administration. And there was nothing that this administration can do until it's carried out. Not for everything, but for some of the things I keep saying. Under Donald Trump, I had more money, but now you wondering why you owed so much in taxes.
Yeah, they don't. But there's the thing. I'm gonna get this image off the screen real quick because I want to say something else. But this is they really have elevated Trump to Messiah. Like
Look at this.
First of all, I don't even know who this man is. Like I don't know.
It ain't Jesus.
This is supposed to be Jesus. This
black
white Brad Pitt. Somebody said it looked like Christian Bale. I don't know who this guy is, but to them, this is Jesus. And they didn't put Jesus in front of American flag. I can tell you one thing: Jesus is never going to be standing in front of American flag. And then 2, they put the bandage on the ear. This is beyond a cult, right? This is idolatry. This is like
it is
worship. Like they've gone so far. Jesus could reveal Jesus himself, and they would turn on Jesus because they prefer Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Becca, the conversation that we are having though, it really is about the fact that people, they don't ever really, there's some people who never cared about black folks. There's black folks who never cared about black folks who only cared about money. And anywhere there is money to be made, they will join the hustle. This is why, like, we talk about the crack epidemic and how crack was flooded in our communities by the government. Yes. But guess who helped facilitate it? a bunch of black folks who didn't care nothing about the black community, right? Same thing with the actual slave trade. There were people black people who helped facilitate it. And so it's not a shock. It's not a surprise, but it should just help us to be sober. There are black folks amongst us who would sell us out for less than 30 pieces of silver.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Less than 30 pieces of silver. That's a lot. They would sell us out less than a crack pipe on the streets. Cause I know the ones that be using them the most ain't us. But yet they do not care about the fact that we're having this conversation. And of course we're going to center it around blackness, because I feel like we are the ones that are missed in the conversations when they're talking about who's going to get hit. And that's to me, the conservative liberals they miss those opportunities to talk about, make it inclusive. So we're centering this particularly about how this affects us and what it looks like for us on purpose, because Donald Trump is literally creating an army. The words that these conversation and these words that he's using, fight and like whistleblowing, fight, creating armies, calling them Trumpites, all of this, we know that this is going to gear towards my cousin, because here I go, a story. My cousin, who's a nurse, works in a hospital. Before the assassination attempt, me and her were talking, and she was like, Rebecca, well, why should I vote for this instead of this? And I was like, I understand your frustrations with both parties, and you should have them. But as a black woman, and a black woman working in where you work and who you deal with every day, your life will change for the worse. Remember what it looked like for you when he was in office. And I'm talking about Donald Trump. We don't have the best candidate now, but we can actually make some moves with this administration that's not the best, that has not represented us well, that doesn't represent what we as a black people are, or the unity that we're asking for, the equality that we've been asking for. There's so many missed opportunities with this administration, yet you were able to do and get more under the same administration. That last administration, do you recall where you were, what you were doing, how your life was looking? And we can make some moves there, clear out house under Joe Biden, if this is what we have. And with Donald Trump, no. A lot of the work that he did in 2016 still has yet to be undone. Mm-hmm. Put things in place so much so that under our noses, Roe versus Wade was gone.
Yep.
Under our noses, they are forcing, under Joe Biden, though, a lot of things that Donald Trump was trying to put in place, Republicans want to instill. Under Joe Biden, though, schools are forcing their kids, to read the commandments of the Bible, whether or not they are believers in this religion or not. They're removing, let's go back. The Republicans were so upset that there is actually a fund that funds only Black people.
Yeah.
The Fearless Fund by Simone, a FAMU graduate, HBCU graduate, who created a fund called the Fearless Fund that supports and grants Black businesses. It's one of the only ones that has as much money capital, venture capital, as it does to support Black jobs, right? Those, not the Black jobs that Trump and them were talking about. We're talking about Black rich businesses. People who have audacity to go beyond the system or the Black jobs that Donald Trump think that's we're all capable and only capable of doing, but to help fund them and push them and support them. And white people got so upset that that fund exists that they challenged it, took it to the Supreme Court, and still said it is racist. And they took it away.
Yep. They've learned how to use the language of civil rights to stop civil rights. Mm-hmm. And as I was studying the Fearless Fund decision, I was really just a tad bit irritated with the attorney's approach. Not that I'm an attorney, but they argued based on freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. And that's what the Fearless Fund's attorneys did. They argued that this is an expression of their freedom of speech, and the judges were like, nope, knock that thing down. Versus arguing on the merit of the spirit of the law, right? The spirit of the civil rights law was to bring equality and civil rights to people who have been systemically oppressed. And now you have white folk like Stephen Miller, like Donald Trump's favorite boy, Stephen Miller, and Ed Bloom, who was behind that lawsuit against the Fearless Fund. They're now taking the civil rights law and language in order to stop civil rights for the very people who needed to get it. They didn't take that argument to the Supreme Court. A little disappointed in that, but that's besides the point. Everything that you said is absolutely spot on. One quick thing on that state, on Oklahoma. It's the state of Oklahoma has gone to force every school to put the 10 Commandments up, as well as teach the Bible. And I know you said, I know what you're saying. You said that it came underneath Joe Biden's administration, but this goes back to what you were trying to, and I'm explaining this for the audience.
No, it came under Joe Biden's administration, but I'm saying under Donald Trump's
energy.
Yeah. Trump energy, Trump ruling, all of the, because you're right, and I'm glad you said that, because Jose, I know you're saying that state rights, Rebecca, different fight. Not, they're past the commandments, not Biden. What I'm saying is the people, right? Yes. The representatives, even state and locally. We have Republican people who are very conservative, who want to keep. This is part of the army, and the army that he's created in his presidency before. The people that stood for 4 years in Palm Beach on that bridge and continue to hold a Trump 2020 sign saying that he won the election. Those people are sometimes our representatives that are in the state and local, whatever, like in those seats. And they're the ones that are saying and upholding Donald Trump's piss poor ass ways, right? Not only that, your doctors, your lawyers, remember how they started to take off their hoods and just wear them, like just be out here freely? They no longer needed to wear their mask at night. They just like, man, I am KKK, and I no longer want to serve Black people at my business. This is what we were getting. This is what we were coming to. And I believe that as they are trying to strip and force people to stand, believe in something that they don't believe in, be something, be like, have to identify as what they say to identify as, yet they're cross-dressers. They're this in the middle. They're all that. They're the ones sending their wives or side pieces to different states after the one in the state that they represent. They removed abortion rights and unprotected them, and then sent the people out that they was having sex with to another city to protect them, and they can go get abortions over there. This is what I'm saying. It's very different. The same people that want you to study the commandments do not abide by them. They may not be at a national level, but that state and local level too are
same party, same people,
and same thing.
And this is why I said MAGA is going to outlast Donald Trump. This is why it's so extremely dangerous right now, because Donald Trump created something in between 2016, those 4 years you're talking about, 2016 and 2020. Donald Trump helped create a power structure that now has all of these ignorant behind people, whether they be on the federal level or on the state level. They're trying to execute on that vision. And no, they don't live according to the 10 Commandments. Not every one of them do. All of them about to go bust hell wide open. That's a whole different conversation.
No, right. Okay. Listen, this is what we should be focusing on. I know we don't have the best. We're not in the best position, but it's all a joke. But you guys understand that it's not only, if we just keep laughing about it, it wasn't a joke in 2016 when they went out there with those. And I'm gonna always repeat that, because that was, y'all don't want us to talk about slavery no more, but well, here you go, 2016, right? When they went out with tiki torches in the name of Donald Trump.
That's right.
And us wanting to strike down racist memorial statues, all of that, removing names that are slave owners' names. People getting upset and saying that we're people getting shot down. Donald Trump not speaking about the Black person getting shot down by police officers and actually standing on the side of police officers, or like Donald Trump looking at immigrants as a problem and then using divisive language here in the nation so that Black immigrants and Black Americans can go head to head with each other.
That's right.
Saying that immigrants are stealing Black jobs and that inflation is due to immigrants and that crime is due to immigrants. Yet Donald Trump is a felon. Yet Donald Trump is a rapist. Donald Trump is caught on tape saying that he likes to grab him by the... Let's not forget. So him putting his granddaughter, who seems to have a speech impediment, I'm not cracking on it, but I'm saying, like, I don't know. I think she has a speech impediment. Putting her up there unprepared and utilizing her to make him seem soft, putting her in a position where people are going to talk about her, like pick her apart for your benefit, to make you seem like a softer person.
I was gonna say Hitler had grandkids too, but I don't think he actually did. So
this type of environment, if somebody wanted Donald Trump gone, he would be gone. This man has been alive thus far after doing all the dirt that he's done. I'm not saying that he is untouchable. I'm saying that I know once hell is that he gonna bust hell wide open. I know it, but I'm telling y'all, like, be mindful. He switched up a whole law by putting people in place in the Supreme Court so that, because he knows what's going to come for him. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, they investigate what happened, the alleged assassination attempt. Will Donald Trump get touched if he had anything to do with it? I'm so sick of it. And you should be too.
Yeah. We're in a really bad. We're in the worst timeline. I've been trying to think like how in the heck did we get in this timeline, like where everything is as dumb as Idiocracy, as much of a dystopia as any movie. Like, you know, we're talking about trying to fight off fascism, and we didn't even have a chance to fight off COVID, and we're not even doing nothing to fight off climate change. Like, the only good thing about this timeline is that if they keep getting their way, it's almost over. You know, it's not like we're going to be here in the next 50, 100 years to actually worry about what they're doing right now. Like, and we're choosing a path that is so self-destructive. It's not just like self-destructive personally. It's destroying the planet. It's destroying just common sense. Like, they're flat earthers in charge now. You know, you have Candace Owens coming out promoting flat eartherism. Like, how did we get here, America?
The world is just as round as her head. I don't know why she keeps trying to like let people think that this, like, we got here because it pays to think stupidly.
Yeah.
Under the guise of being so intelligent, under the guise of being the only Black or the white elite that thinks differently, who's like, yes, that's outside of the box, yet you're just dumb. And that's America literally became what they are because they did not want to accept any truth, any facts, and them just saying something and believing that about themselves, the confidence that America has about their lackluster work, about how they got this country and put it together. America is not at all what they say they are. Yet they walk around here unarmored. They have no real skin in the fight. But because they said it, people believe it. And at the end of this, all of this, if we do not challenge and try to, we have to hit it at the root. Our ancestors did something and we cannot stop the fight now. Because if we do, we're just going to, we really are. I know they make that joke about rewinding the clocks back 400 years, but we actually, no, that's what's happening.
They won't.
They're obliterating people and nothing is happening for their actions.
You said it like, no, they literally said, Nick Fuentes, who is a white nationalist with Hispanic origins, they don't want to take us back to the 1960s. They want to take us back to the 1560s. Literally, they want to take us back centuries, y'all. And they are in a position to strike and they're not only in a position to strike, but they have their fangs out. Oh, they want blood. They're calling for, I mean, in 2 weeks, our last episode, we covered Mark Robinson, who was in the pulpit saying, we need to murder people. We need to kill them in Jesus' name. We need to kill them. They're in the pulpits doing this. And it happened not suddenly, like we could see this progress over the last 15 years, but the switch, oh man, when this thing turns, it's going to feel sudden because there's going to be a lot of people who haven't been paying attention. A lot of people who think, oh, we're living in a diverse world. No, you're not. Nah, baby, if you're on a DEI staff at anybody's job when Trump gets power, your life is in danger.
You're run for the hills, baby, from which cometh your health. And that's not going to be Republicans. I want you to understand right now, DEI hire. The way that Republicans take things and make them negative, repurpose them for their BS. They want to remember when it was like whites only and all this. That's the little effort that we did to be going into schools and all this other stuff and segregation. They have taken it away from us in some way, shape, or form. Social media wise, you already know. Google anything in this world. Google something that's black. They have whitewashed every single thing you can think of. They want to make you think, like you said, Ben, the 3 silver coins that they gave you is just enough for the black, but that's the ceiling for you. While white people get whatever else it is. Elon Trump. Elon Trump. Why would I say that? See, the Lord, that's crazy. I said that by mistake and it made all the sense. Elon Musk reposted on Twitter some stupid graph that showed the richest people in the most successful, let me say, I didn't say richest, the most successful people in the United States. And white people were like, they weren't the first. I think it was like Indians, I want to say, were the first, or Asians or something like that, but the most successful. And they were like, oh, and then they come here and say that they can't, that they're being discriminated against. White people were in the comment section saying basically like, we need to get them out of here because look, they're the most successful here, but they're crying about laws to pertain to them. And successful and richer, I think that's the most successful means they come here and do something to make sure that they can try to do something to make themselves successful. The number's still like, hey, there's still more white people here than white people will always live. A poor white person compared to a poor black person will still be richer.
Look, and it's not always 100% the case, right? But I would never forget one of my neighbors, love him, cool white dude. And he was just like really down because he couldn't find work. And I was like, dang, man, I understand. It really, really bad. And I started doing the math though. I'm like, but you're living in a pretty nice house. What's going on here? And he hadn't been working for a while. He's like, I'll go pick up a job here and there. He said, yeah, I can't find work, but I got all, I got, investments. I'm like, what?
We can't say that.
He was living off the residual income, but he couldn't find a job. Now I know that's not most people's story. A lot of white folks' stories. That ain't y'all story either. But I never would forget how he felt so poor because he couldn't find work, yet he was able to pay for his house off the residual income of the capital gains. Like, yes.
Listen, I just told y'all. In an apartment, ain't even got a house. They don't put a sign on the door. And I'm trying to figure out literally how to push some money together just to pay the rest of what I owe. There's no investments for me because the investment money is for food. It's for car note. It's for literally keeping the lights on. That investment money is to make sure you got gas in your car. There is no investment money. People are like, oh, you just ain't spending your money right. How, y'all?
You got $50 left over at the end of the month. What you gonna do? Put that in a stock, or you just gonna be like, let me go get some wings? I'm tired of this.
Let me tell you something. I got $10, and right now $16 a pack of wings, and I gotta come home and cook on a stove. And while I'm going through stuff in my life, I'm gonna go sit at that Chicken Wing Wednesday spot where I can get a chicken 10 wings for $5, and with $20 I can get 20. Oh, I'm sitting right here.
You learn how to prioritize. Like I'm gonna prioritize my mental health. We're gonna take these last $30 and put them in. It ain't gonna do that. I can put $30 a month in investment for the rest of my life. Because you got started too late, you had to get started when you're 19.
I had to get started late because ain't nobody showed me nothing. And by the time I got out, you told me that my degree would get me a good job, but I had to work all these other jobs trying to figure out how to keep myself together. Because you told me that because I'm of a certain age, I needed to have a little apartment or a home. Now I done did over the top stuff, and I can't get nothing for myself. I done did so much of that stuff, done hurt myself. My credit ain't good. Now they telling me now your credit's good, but you ain't got no. Your credit is good, but you have no credit history. After you done cleaned your credit.
No, man, look, listen. Anyway, but shout out to all the poor people. Solidarity, man. Working
solidarity, baby. Listen. And you know what? I said the white poor is richer than the black poor. I meant that, but we all in this together because poor is poor, but it is a different kind of poor. But we all in this together because right now, though, we're all being affected. And the more that we understand that we're all being affected, like I told you, that person who's living in the trailer park in the west of Nowheresville with 3 missing teeth in the front.
Dog, Rebecca, come on, man. They might have a good dental plan. Chill.
You can't get your good dental plan because Donald Trump made sure of that. Right, so I need you to understand.
You're right.
We're all in this together. We're all being affected in some way, shape, or form. Okay? So the ones that got kicked out on the street and your daddy decided no longer to give you any money and to disown you. Yeah, you're now committing a crime. Homeless person, right? We're all in this together. We are all being affected. We're all being affected.
Except for here's the threshold, right? It's actually a mess because there's so many poor people who are okay with the system because they think one day they won't be poor no more, right? That's the real problem. There's just a whole and that crosses races. Mm-hmm. Every single race got a group of folks who are working class, who don't have any money at the end of the month. You live in paycheck to paycheck, but because you want to look like this on Instagram, you want to look rich like everybody else. You want one day you're going to be able to get on the yacht. One day you're going to be a millionaire. One day you're going to be a billionaire. That's why we can't have the solidarity that we need. Truth be told, if every poor person in this country had solidarity and said, we might be poor, but we're going to withhold our money from you, and we boycott you, or we withhold our labor and we strike, we would bring this country to its needs in no time flat, which is why they go out and assassinate people to make sure stuff like that doesn't happen.
Not us saying we're going to go out and get some wings and not telling people to withhold money. Listen, because the wings at the black spot should sometimes be too expensive, man. No. But
where you go? Oh, Atlanta.
Maybe, no, in Atlanta. Because, Atlanta comes with that whole.
Listen, once I got out of Atlanta, I found 25 wings and fries for $20.
You see, God is good with that, and I know it's real. I know it's real.
And Becca, they whole wings. They ain't the little.
Oh, the one with the.
So it's really like 50 wings.
It's the shape like this. I know what you're talking about. You could break it, so you got break it into. Now you got you a flat with a little leg on it, and a drum. You got because the flat, right? But then they got that little piece right there, so you got a little extra you could chew on. Okay, come on, let's be.
Listen, you got to get to the country. You got to get to the country. Get to the south.
Yeah, I do.
Atlanta ain't the south no more.
No. Anytime I get wings from where I live, this predominantly white area, I have to come home. Put it in the oven a little bit, let that thing cook a little bit more. Put a little more seasoning on that, flip it over a little bit, broil it for about a few minutes, and then make sure it got a little crisp on there. Yeah, I got to do that, but it's cheaper. Anywho, we're at the end of the show. I know that you guys, I hope that if you are still here and you are watching, and I am so glad to see over 50 people on my channel live right now. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to Like It or Not with Rebecca Azor and friends. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in to us though, because if you're watching right now, that means you love what you're watching. So support on patreon.com that was a book, patreon.com, and I would like to read it now. Patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/like it or not. Also, you guys, listen, your girl, once again, for everybody who has given a love offering thus far, I really appreciate it. Please, I am just trying to make it to the $600 mark so I can give this money over to these people so I am not on the street committing a crime. Okay. So please, Becca's Voice on Cash App, Becca's Voice on Cash App. And if you want to give over to PayPal, you can do that as well. PayPal is RebeccaAzor@gmail.com. I opened up a Patreon. I don't know how to use it. I don't know anything about it. So let me work with that. But it's Rebecca Azor on Patreon.com. So I don't know how to use it. So I don't really know anything about it.
So get that Patreon. So you don't have to ask brand new every month. They just repeat. Go and get.
Okay.
It ain't hard. Get it up. Stay it up. And because I want to thank my patrons for carrying me from there to here. Because like I said, Rebecca, I got some stuff to drop. The announcement is going to sound crazy, but I'm gonna ask my audience if y'all ever known Dixon and y'all know me to be not only honest but to be accurate. Mm-hmm. When I drop this over the next couple of days, just give me the benefit of the doubt. That's all I'm asking.
I'm ready to, well, make sure you put that in there, but I'm ready to see what your thoughts are because they're your thoughts. You're an intelligent person and you know how to piece together information and things like that. So I know that it's going to be, especially if you researched it, you just let them know that these are, again, like something that you put together. And if people follow it, you follow it, whatever. Yeah, come on. I want to see what it is. If you feel like this is something that should be out there, don't get on here talking about aliens and came to your house and sat on your couch and had a conversation. I don't need that right now.
But if I have evidence, though.
I'm trying to rock with you, man.
It ain't that. It's not. You know what? It's out there, but it is nowhere near that.
Not you got video and now you came up missing. I'm trying to help you out, my brother. Okay.
It's going to be an exciting week. That's all I can say. But I brought that up because I wouldn't have made it to this point without patrons being there supporting every month. I literally had to stop doing my show so that I could focus on the work. And I'm saying that to you so that you can go ahead and get that Patreon up. Okay.
I'm gonna work that out. I'm gonna see. I want to just let me see, give a little shout out to the people who have supported thus far because I really appreciate you.
While you find those names, Tiger in the comment section wanted to hit me up. Tiger, I don't use cell phones anymore.
He doesn't.
From the government.
He doesn't. I'm telling you.
Whatever it was, DM me.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's start with thank you so much, Carrie Shaw, Charles McKenzie, Evan Woodard, Emily Sebastian, Parko Abel, Andy, what's going on? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm saying y'all government. I'm sorry. I'm Andicon, Elaine, Andrew, Carrie, Deborah. I thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. I don't know how this is helping me. Carly, all of you guys thus far. And if you've given I forgot who gave on PayPal. The one person gave on PayPal the other day. Thank you. Everybody who's been supporting thus far. I really appreciate it, y'all. Y'all don't know what it means. Even if it's $1, it's super helpful. It goes somewhere. I promise you, I'm not out here just throwing it. I really need it. It's facts. It's facts.
30 people in our audience. Y'all send $20 to Rebecca and let's bring this to a close.
Thank you.
30 people. We got 1,000 people watching right now. 30 of you can send $20 to my sister Rebecca Azor and let that be taken care of. And those same
we have 1,000 people watching for real. I never be knowing every Saturday.
The same 30, you can also become a patron of $20 a month. Mm-hmm. Do that. Patreon.com/Rebecca Azor, I'm assuming.
Yes, it is.
Okay, there it is.
Thank you. I'll figure that whole thing out, and I really appreciate that, Ben. You always are really well at putting together the ask like a church man that you are. I absolutely appreciate that. But I was so nosy, and I want you to go back to that long paragraph comment.
Read it.
Because I want to read it. So let me see before I get out of here. I was nosy. Let me see. But Benjamin, the reason why people don't get to that realization is because the powers that be destroyed the public school system. They destroyed our systems of academia so they can have, just like George Collins said, smart enough workers to do the work in the assembly line, but dumb enough to accept the big red, white, blue penis going up their behinds every day. I didn't know that's where it was leading to.
They're right. Fastest killer. Absolutely. Ooh, I love the name. Is absolutely correct. George Carlin, I think they probably meant, but I definitely agree.
Yeah,
that's why we can't have working class solidarity. This country would not work. This whole system would come to its knees in less than a week if we were actually able to unite the 300 million working class people in this country. It'd be over.
It'll be over 100%. All right, y'all. We are at the end of the show. Ben, as always, love when we can get together and do this every Saturday because Ben is a ghost throughout the week. So when we get to Saturday, like Saturdays are literally us meeting for the first time in the week. So the energy that you guys get is always authentic. Listen, this is for us and by us with the white producer involved in the background as well. But it is for us and by us. Absolutely want you guys to support. Continue to watch. Even if you can't give monetarily, we love your support with your views. Nice. So that means, listen, push the views up. My page has been demonetized, but go ahead and continue to push the views up. Continue to subscribe. Continue to like. They demonetized me, honey. They said that the same reason as before. They're saying that I David was breaking it down to me. Because I don't have my separate stuff, and I told you, God told me to do something, and I didn't do it. But this is my show, though, and so I know other people who have the same formatting as me, and with other people and stuff like that, but they're not demonetized. So I wrote it on a thread, and I hope they get back to me. But we're working on it. In the meantime, just share, like, subscribe. You got Becca's voice to definitely contribute to if you can. But share, like, subscribe, push our pages into the algorithm. Our voices need to be heard in this space and in this time right now. And if you guys love it, don't keep it to yourself. Let the world know. All right, we're at the end of the show. I love y'all. I mean it. I thank you guys. And I hope that you guys have a great day. Ben, go do what God told you to do. That's the message for all y'all.
This week, Rebecca, this week. This is a deal between us.
Okay.
If we come back next Saturday and we haven't dropped what the Lord told us to drop, shame on the two of us.
Shame us in the comment section. Right. All right. And if that spoke to your hearts too, do what God told you to do so you don't come here looking crazy. Love you guys, mean it, and we'll see you next Saturday. Okay. Work that we're doing here is not going to stop when it comes to these type of discussions. It's going to be for us and by us here on this platform when the media is telling us to look the other way. Your support is what helps us move forward. Join patreon.com/like it or not. Help us grow.
Like it or not, y'all. 2023. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for like it or not. Rebecca Azor. Let's start this damn show. Yes, it's time for like it or not. Rebecca Azor. Let's start this damn show like it or not. Rebecca Azor is in the house. You know she got a funny story to tell. Talking politics, culture, or real life ish. I live in life in the ATL. Benjamin, yeah, that's my man. He's always coming up with the master plan. Politics scheming, trying to find the meaning.